How you doing, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm bringing you another ladder PvP experience. Now stay tuned as I'm working on my next Poise showcase, and that'll come in the next couple of days, but in the meantime I had another ladder match the other day, so I thought I would share that with you. Essentially, I had a player by the name of Trav/Pilot challenge me for my spot on the ladder, and I ended up defeating him 3-0, but it was still a great match, and I've never fought him before, so it was a new experience for me fighting this player, and he had an interesting setup there with sorted board with a switch out to an ultra great, which was pretty cool. As you know me, I love Poise, so it was an interesting fight, a lot of fun, and I thought I would share that here with you today, guys. Now, the only thing that has changed from my last PvP experience video is I'm basically using the same build, the Dark Mace plus Dark Partizan combo, which was showcased on part 37 of my Poise Showcase series. I've linked that in the description as well if you want to take a look at the original build. But essentially the only thing that's changed here, guys, is I've changed my stats up a little bit, and I've also optimized my armor a lot better for absorption values in addition to armor poise. So I'll quickly discuss that here now, but before I do, if the Discord server is something that you guys are interested in, essentially the Discord server is a server where a collection of all Dark Souls 3 players from each platform come together. The guys that are interested in PvP dueling or competitive PvP dueling, if that interests you at all, guys, then I've included a link to the Discord server below. Essentially what this means is, depending on your respective platform, you just join the server and choose your platform, and you get to fight basically some of the best players in each platform who are in these ladder PvP setups and also in tournaments. And it'll also give you a lot of exposure to you know, higher level dueling PvP against these players, also to tournament settings as well if you're interested in that. And not only that, but these are an awesome bunch of guys here, and they'll be quite happy to help you out if you need as well, especially with building certain setups as well, optimizing for stats, etc. Awesome bunch of guys, so check it out if you're interested in any of the competitive PvP scene at all. I've included a link to that Discord below. Now straight onto the build here, guys. As you can see, the only thing that's changed here really in terms of the setup is the armor, and also I've removed Filianor's Chime. Now basically, in keeping with the ladder PvP rules, you can only have one passive HP regen item in your active inventory at any time, so for me it's the Ethereal Oak Shield. I've switched out the Filianor's Chime for just a regular Cestus, and as you'll notice, I never really ring swap, so I don't have a Sun Princess ring in my back pocket or anything like that, so the only thing we have here is just the Ethereal Oak Shield. Now in terms of armor, guys, I've got Lap's Helm, the Wing Knight armor, the Wing Knight gauntlets, and also the Harald Legion leggings. In terms of armor poise, we are still optimized to the exact same level we were with the part 37 version of this build, so check that out. We've got actually just a little bit more poise, but in terms of breakpoints it's still the same. But we have optimized our absorption rates a lot better here, guys. Now essentially, when you do optimize for absorption, depending on what damage type your opponent has on their weapon, also what weapon they're using and what attack, when it comes down to it, if I simplify it here, if you optimize your absorption values against that particular weapon type and your opponent, it will increase your survivability by about 1 to 2 hits roughly, which doesn't sound like such a big deal, but when it comes to a ladder PvP match or a tournament setting, the ability to survive even one more hit is crucial actually, depending on the match, because it may mean defeat or a clinch victory against your opponent with just a sliver of your health left. So the Wing Knight armor and the Harald armor are really, really great for dark defenses. Now, as you guys know, the meta at the moment is Dark Infusion, so if you optimize your armor against Dark, essentially that can increase your survivability by just a little bit, essentially, which might help you in this particular setting. So the Wing Knight armor and the Harald armor are great for Dark defenses, but on top of that, they also have great absorption values as well, and Lap's Helm is also pretty good with that dark defense and has decent other absorption values here also. So we're a lot more optimized in terms of defenses here, guys, in addition to armor poise. Now in terms of stats, the only thing I changed was I moved 1 point away from strength and popped it into vigor, so I've got 45 vigor and 26 strength. Basically the way I saw it is I gained 10 HP from popping in 1 more point in vigor, and I only lost 3 AR from my mace two-handed, so it was beneficial in my opinion. A gain of 10 HP for a loss of 3 AR, yeah, that's worth it, so that's why I changed that there, but otherwise the rest of this build remains the same. So yeah guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this fight, and stay tuned as my next Poise showcase is coming. Alrighty guys, first round of the match, going up against a standard Black Knight Shield and Straight Sword meta setup. I am using the Dark Mace, and I open this match by using Perseverance here to psych out my opponent a little bit, and also using Perseverance running attacks. Now, as you know, I am armor poise optimized to tank his standard attacks with my own, but the running attack actually gives you the least amount of hyper armor, so you do need to use perseverance with your running attacks here in order to not get staggered in that exchange. Now, I am given an opportunity here to shoot my opponent in the face as he is standing there. So in a ladder match, guys, I do recommend you don't do that, as your opponent will capitalize on any mistakes that you do make. Now again, I try go for another perseverance running attack here, but I miss. And I do get punished accordingly, actually, by missing that perseverance running attack, but perseverance actually saves me here from getting stun locked into a 2 to 3 hit combo, so lucky me. Now in this next exchange, I managed to out-trade my opponent here, but as you'll notice, I did get staggered just slightly, and it's because my opponent actually was fast enough to hit me in between my next active frame activation. So just remember that, guys, even though you're poise optimized to tank your opponent with your standard attacks, you do have to take that timing into consideration, otherwise your opponent will hit you outside of those active frames and will stagger you anyway. Now in this next exchange here, I managed to hit my opponent just before he hits me, so there's a little bit of spacing coming into play there. And I finish off the match here by hitting my opponent just before he goes into that weapon arc. So GG. Good game. Alrighty guys, so second round of the match. My opponent here actually switches up his setup a little bit. He goes from the Black Knight Shield Straight Sword setup to a medium shield and Zweihander. Now I understand his reasoning here. He was probably looking to out-poise me at the trade. But this is where perseverance comes into play, guys, and perseverance is so effective against these bigger weapon classes as long as you get that timing right. So I spend a lot of this match here just baiting out attacks and going into perseverance here for trades. Now I managed to hit him there just before he pivoted for a backstab, which was great. And in the next exchange, I really just looked to out-trade him using perseverance. So I got him 4 hits for this particular combo, which is excellent. And it just goes to show that with the right timing, the Mace can really contest those heavier weapons at the trade using that perseverance weapon art. Now again, a couple of running attacks there. It's all about spacing really in this particular match. The Ultra Greatsword is big, heavy, and slow, but it will hit for a ton of damage if it does hit. So I do try and just outspace my opponent here in this match, trying to get in a few crossbow shots just to switch my playstyle up a little bit. But it's mostly about timing that perseverance and going for those trades, which was basically the key to victory in this particular matchup using the Mace against the Ultra. So again here, just spacing and bang, the final exchange, going into that trade using perseverance for the win. GG. Alrighty guys, so last round of the match, and my opponent switches back up to the Black Knight Shield and Straight Sword setup. And again, this time we're playing both fairly defensively. You'll see in a lot of instances in this match, I just tend to use my Dark Mace to just chip through his shield. Now, my opponent's playing very defensively in this particular match. I do get a nice roll catch there using the Mace. The Mace is absolutely incredible at roll catching there, guys. You really need to take advantage of its roll catching abilities, especially when your opponent makes mistakes or panic rolls out of the way. And as you can see there, guys, a lot of chip damage there on that shield. And that's basically what I say, guys. You do need something that has chip damage against the meta shield setup, so that's why the Dark Infusion is the current meta, basically because it is the most viable option there for you to rack up chip damage on your opponent when they're turtling with the Black Knight Shield and the Straight Sword. So again here, just going for those chip damage attacks, trying to open up for a trade. Instead I get another excellent roll catch there using the Mace. And as you can see, my opponent is playing fairly defensively. He is going for attacks here and there, but he's mostly turtling with that shield, which it's quite effective for essentially. And that's where our Dark Infusion just comes in, in handy here essentially. And there my armor poise value helped me win that exchange without getting staggered. So again, we are poise optimized to tank his standard attacks, and I got an opportunity there to follow that up with a crossbow through the face as my opponent was rolling out. So again, my opponent playing very defensively, and that chip damage is just adding up. As you can see, Dark Infusions, they're just so effective against the meta shield setup, and in conjunction here with my Mace roll catching abilities, it's been quite effective in this particular round to really chip away at my opponent's health and create a bit of pressure. Now again, I try and finish him off here with the crossbow, unsuccessful. So you'll see me now switch out to the Partizan after I do a couple of perseverance running attacks. Now essentially I switched out to the Partizan to finish my opponent off, but that didn't go so well. I actually ended up getting punished trying to be a little bit flashy. I got a bit cocky, so you might enjoy that in a second. But like I said, a couple more Perseverance running attacks here which miss. Again, trying to use Perseverance there to psych out my opponent and also go for those Perseverance running attacks. But he was quite good at just outspacing me with those running attacks. Excellent spacing there by Trav, although I did get a bit of chip damage there with the Mace in that exchange. So as you can see here, I've switched up to the Partizan, and I think my aim with the Partizan here was to finish my opponent off with a flashy weapon art, which was cocky and stupid, and as you'll see, Trav manages to punish me heavily for my hubris. And there we go, excellent punishment by Trav there for me being a complete idiot and trying to finish him off there with that weapon art. So instead I continue using the Partizan here to try and finish him off, but I also use the crossbow there to create a bit of pressure with not only the spear, but also with the ranged attacks using those explosive bolts. So at this point in the match it was all about timing, and I do get the final opportunity here to finish him off using this particular setup of Partizan and crossbow. And there we go, bang. So GG, it was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this particular video, the next ladder PvP experience, and stay tuned as my next Poise showcase is coming. So thanks for watching, guys.